looking at it for exactly what it is. Is the problem that you are eating too much late at night, or is the problem that you're not eating enough during the day?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, she just said it.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Thick Thighs Save Lives podcast. I'm Kelsey.
What the hell? What the hell?
What the hell? Why would we start over?
Okay. Rachel.
Hey, thanks for coming to the podcast.
Hey, Kelsey. And you know what's so funny?
Oh, I can't wait to hear.
Oh.
It left?
Oh, no, it's not funny. I'm gonna leave it behind. It's not funny. I'm leaving it behind. I like your high pony. Good for you today. It's necessary.
My high pony?
Yeah.
Is that,
it's
yeah.
Good. Yeah, good for you.
You know, one of the things is it's hot.
You want to talk about snacks?
Let's talk about snacks.
I'm a snack.
You are a snack. I'm a whole ass meal.
Oh. All right, I'll just be the snack then. I'm fine with it.
It's not easy being... You know what? Just do you.
Okay, well, I'm just going to be a snack, and when we talk about nutrition, I think that there's like this, oh no.
I know. I realized it and I froze.
That's it. That's the last time you'll be able to adjust your pony the whole podcast. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do with your hands?
I'm going to have to sit very, very still because I have a squeaky chair.
Squeaky chair.
You know what? It's fine. It's authentic.
I hope to God that pony stays that high because you are now... No, you're paralyzed. You can't.
You can move my head.
Well, Willow.
Move my head a little bit.
Back and forth. Move my head back and forth. I want to talk about snacks because I think that A, fuck arbitrary rules on food. B, stop denying yourself simple pleasures of life in the thought that you are holding back major progress by eating a snack. You are a snack. Be the snack. Embrace the snack. And specifically, what we want to talk about today is late night snacking, because I think that that is a commonly, when we look at people saying like, okay, where are the areas in my nutrition is lacking? Where am I really needing to point to where I'm not seeing the progress that I want to see? People often talk about late night snacking as like their downfall. And late night snacking often and binging is often intertwined. And I really want to discuss late night snacking today because I think that, first of all, it has a really bad rap. And secondly, I think that people thinking the late night snacking is the issue is an issue because it's not. That's not the issue. There's something else that you're not looking at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think that anytime we talk about nutrition and don't talk about some of the arbitrary rules or some of the other, things that have led to issues with our relationship with food. And I think, anytime we target something as being quote unquote the problem or the reason why we're not making any progress or the reason why you're not where you want to be, it needs to be addressed. And in the way of looking at it for exactly what it is. Is the problem that you are eating too much late at night, or is the problem that you're not eating enough during the day?
Uh-oh, she just said it. So light bulbs need to be exploding at this point in your brain if you've ever had guilt or shame surrounding late night binging or snacking or whatever. If you have been told, you can't eat after 7 p.m. and also have goals in health and fitness. No, wrong. If you've been told, midnight snacks are going to ruin your day of good eating, no, stupid. If you have been told, this is my personal favorite, that would be in sarcasm, it's my most unfavorite. You're not hungry, you're bored. If you've been told that regarding late night snacking, shut up. I hate those rules. I hate the everything surrounding them, which is just supposed to lead you back to guilt and shame and self-loathing. And what I really want to say if you hear a really rigid food rule that you think is like, wow, so like 7:00 is the cutoff. Where'd they come up with that? Why not 7:03? Why not 8:20? Like, where is this? East Coast, West Coast?
What time zone are we in?
If it sounds arbitrary, it's probably because it is. And like, I just want to blow up the idea that these things are, some kind of an exact science and that you have to live in these rigid rules or else, I don't know what, you're not a snack anymore. No, girl, you're always a snack. So all of these things about like when to eat, how much to eat, what to eat, they're like all these complicated math equations and these rigid rules. And like, really all they are is just disordered eating. That's all they are. Like, call a spade a spade. That's just disordered eating. That is unhealthy relationships with food. And every food rule falls into that category, no matter how many times you've been told it or no matter how much, it seems harmless. Like, oh, just don't eat at 7:01. That seems okay, right? No, it's disordered. That's disordered. So let's talk about, Kelsea, blow them up. Blow them up with why are they hungry at night? Why are we hungry at night? Let's look at the actual cause instead of just going into the circle of shame and self-guilt for being hungry at night.
Yeah. So I think some of the things that we have to think about when we talk about these rules is that the number one, most like talked about, I want to say diet or way to lose weight is a calorie deficit. So the idea that you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight has taken over. And then what people do during the day is they try to eat the least amount of food possible so that they can maintain their calorie deficit. So throughout the day, they are using up all of their willpower to either delay eating or eat as little as possible. So two things happen there. When you're delaying your eating, you are doing just that. You're delaying it because there is no just like skipping it all together forever. Like that doesn't happen. And what I see with a lot of women who do this is they get into a routine where, because everything that we're doing is part of our routine and our habits. So they get into a routine where they're delaying mostly during the day. Then you get to like, honestly, 3-4 o'clock, you haven't even eaten anything except caffeine. And then you get home and you start to eat a little bit more, but the amount that you have consumed throughout the day is actually not enough to sustain you. So then when you're home and you're not running from place to place, then all of a sudden your body is like, yeah, but give me some freaking fuel. So we have to eat a whole bunch of things. Now we know that when you delay eating for as long as you possibly can, your body tends to crave, different things that it can use, fairly quickly, which would be like, some less desirable food. They might not be as nutritious dense foods that you might want to eat during the day, because you actually just need to consume your body's just looking for fast fuel.
Well, every study shows that, when your body has gotten past the point of hungry and it sent you multiple hunger cues that you've ignored, which you've really not ignored, you've just delayed them. Guys, that's the key, is all you're doing when you ignore hunger signals is delaying them to another time. So if you think of it in those terms, putting off eating becomes less desirable, because if you think of it like, well, I'm not going to put this off forever. All I'm going to do is actually put it off till later. And then later,
until an inopportune time, right? So what you're doing is you're putting it off till the end of the day, like right before you go to bed, where you don't have the opportunity as much to use the fuel that you've now consumed although your body needs it, you're not going to continue using it. You're going to sleep, right? So like, I mean, hopefully a lot of people have gotten into a routine where they're snacking so late at night that like they're having a lot of issues with insomnia because they're getting, their blood sugar is spiking, pretty late.
That's what's supposed to happen when you eat.
Yes,
your
body is doing what it's supposed to do.
Right. It's not doing the wrong thing. And obviously the choices that are being made late at night too.
In the options that you have late at night. So like you're not planning, like I quote unquote, you're not planning to eat late at night, most of you. So the options that you have you're not like usually cooking a full meal. You're kind of like grabbing things from the cupboard. You're grabbing like bags of things are frozen, that kind of stuff where like.
Things that are frozen. Ice cream.
Yeah.
Not the frozen veggies. No. That's not what we're grabbing at 8:30 at night. Come on now. We're grabbing one frozen thing and that's
it's usually a tub, and you're so hungry that you are that hungry. Like that's real. Like you do want to eat the whole tub of ice cream, but it's because you have so much room because you haven't consumed enough nutrient dense food throughout the day that then your body just needs food in you. So then you're just like looking to like throw anything down in there where you grab like a bag of chips, things like that are like easy, but you haven't planned for it. And no wonder why, I just kind of go back to this, like, no wonder why you eat the whole bag, right? Because like you didn't really plan for it. You're very hungry. You don't have anything else that you can kind of like easily consume at that time. Like you don't have another meal that's like ready to be like waiting for you that you could just heat up or anything. Like
when you've put off eating for nearly 12 hours, and I'm not saying that you haven't eaten for 12 hours, but you've put off all of your hunger signals, your cravings, your whatever came up during the day, you've put them off. It actually makes more sense to me that you sat down and ate the whole bag than not. Yeah. It's probably easier to sit down and eat the whole bag of chips rather than not, considering the place that you've put yourself in at that time of day. And it's like, what this can look like so many different things, but for most people, it looks like it can happen multiple times throughout the day. It can look like a super hectic morning where you're completely skipping breakfast, or you're grabbing like a non-satisfying, low-calorie choice, like whatever part of the granola bar your kid didn't eat on the way to school, like that's what you're eating, calling your breakfast. Drinking a coffee and calling that breakfast. Then we get like later into the day, and then we're like we're more awake, we're more into our diet culture mentality, and we're choosing like this low carb or low protein lunch because we're being good, right? This is the part of the day that we've planned, right? Mm-hmm. So like you can be choosing a not filling choice in an effort to be in a calorie deficit and be good. Or you could be like eating while distracted, like you're busy at work and you're not fully satisfying or fully enjoying the food experience. Some people are skipping lunch altogether, or like
a lot of people are. Most people are skipping breakfast, but a lot of people are skipping lunch altogether.
Or they're putting off lunch so long into the day that then they're not hungry for dinner at the right time, and then they're inevitably everything gets pushed back. Mm-hmm. And then obviously dinner being the sort of last ditch effort to maintain control, saying to yourself, yeah, I'm going to make a 300 calorie dinner and that's going to be so great. Or like, I'm having a dinner, but I'm having no carbs in it, or a very lame protein option.
Lame protein.
These are things that leave you unsatisfied and in a severe deficit by the time you reach 7 p.m. that it is so right and makes so much sense that you're polishing off an entire bag of chips, and like wondering why that is happening when you look at your day and what it's looked like as far as foregoing eating and being in such a deficit. You're just left wanting, and your body is going to demand replenishment. Mm-hmm. And we know that when your body is sent several hunger cues and you've ignored them, or sent several cravings and you've ignored them, it's going to crave higher calorie food. That's a fact.
Absolutely. And a lot of those things that you're eating do have nutritious qualities in them, right? Like even if you go down to break down ice cream, like you are getting nutrition from that. Like you are getting some needs that your body is asking for met during that. But some of the problem that I see when it comes to setting these habits where you end up, eating really late at night, it's, what you're doing during the day. And then the focus is, so although we know, I've had a lot of people say, like, my issue is eating late at night, so I need to stop doing that. Well, what do you need to start doing? Like, I would really like to stop focusing on all of the things we need to stop doing in our life, and what can you replace that? Because that's really where change happens, is when you replace a behavior with a new one and you don't focus on the things that you want to eliminate. Like, because focus
Don't
is
get a red light.
ultimately,
Don't get a red light.
yes,
Don't get a red light. I've
focus
got
is
every red light.
ultimately where you're giving your power to. So if you're giving your power to the thing you don't want to do, just like you tell your kid, like, don't do this, and they're like, I am going to touch the stove now. But instead, if you are looking at you being like a late night snacker and you saying like, this doesn't really feel good for me, and this is something that I would like to adjust, I would suggest, instead of saying I'm going to stop snacking late at night, like I am right now, and I'm going to start eating in the morning. I'm going to start.
Look at what you can do. Yeah. And that's what I think is like, I've heard a lot of podcasts about, late night snacking and these rules and all these kinds of things, but never once have I've heard all the ways you can stop doing this.
Yeah.
Brush your teeth, have a glass of water, go to bed. All these,
just sleep. Like,
all these are,
people wake up hungry.
Seriously. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's
or
just
can't
ignoring, and that's
hungry.
just putting it off more. So instead of saying all of the tricks of things that you can do, have a tic tac. I've literally heard this. Instead of saying all the things that you shouldn't be or should do to try to fool yourself, how about things we should be doing different during the day to set ourselves up for a different path at night? You got to eat more during the day. I know it's busy, but you have to. And the other thing that you need to look at is not only, what you are eating during the day, which making sure that it is enough in the way of calorically dense, but what did you not eat during the day? Mm-hmm. Because that's really important too.
Yeah.
What did you say no to? What did you use your willpower on, right? Because there's multiple times a day where we're saying, I really wanted a sandwich for lunch, but I got to be good. I got to have this salad. Mm-hmm. Now I'm left. It's the same exact thing with cravings. You're not conquering a craving. You are just putting it off. You are foregoing it for a different time. That craving is not going to go away. It's just going to come back later in a different form. So if you really wanted a sandwich and you ate a salad instead with no real, true, good, dense carbohydrate choice, don't be surprised if late at night you want chips.
Yeah.
That's that same craving again, and all you've done is just put it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I wanted to bring up too, when it comes to some of the, late night snacking or, binging really is what we're, essentially talking about for a lot of this, is when you are binging later in the day and you're choosing things that are just in the cupboard or, ice cream or whatever, there's a significant amount of usually fiber that's missing from these choices. And that is something that will carry on into your next day and your next week, where you're starting to feel more bloated and your body isn't functioning in a way that you feel like it's ideal for you, that you're feeling good. And it's just we have to really check in with ourselves on that and start to, I hate these arbitrary rules where you cannot eat past this time because this one person said it worked for them. That's bizarre and wild. But if you decide, I get heartburn late at night, or if I'm eating these things late at night, then I just don't feel great, or I'm making choices that don't make me feel good, and that my body isn't running in the way that I know that it could. That's where we need to recognize that it's not I need to eat less. It's not that I need to eat less calories. It's that I need to look at actually my nutrition and what my body is getting. Maybe what are some of the things that I'm missing from a nutrient dense diet? Like, am I getting enough fiber?
No, it's a real question. And I think that like people definitely understand that they don't want a late night snack. It doesn't make them feel good. They're not sleeping great when they do it. And they do feel like they're making choices that they don't want to make. That they feel like, no, I don't want to eat an entire tub of ice cream. I know that isn't leading me closer to my health and fitness goals. It's like, yeah, totally. You can totally see a behavior and want to change it, but just relying on willpower alone and not focusing on why these behaviors are taking place is really the problem. And I just want to like put out there that like cravings are freaking normal. They're so freaking
Let's normalize
normal.
cravings for a second. Like, and honestly, this doesn't happen when you first start making adjustments with your nutrition, because there's a lot of unlearning that needs to happen. So I just want to make sure, like, when it comes to like cravings and eating intuitively, I understand for a lot of people that's really, really difficult because you've been fighting that for so long, and you have these ideas of what's good and what's bad, and I don't know what I feel anymore. You know what I mean? You've been conditioned really not to trust yourself and what your body is feeling, and that's a really difficult place to come from. But I just want to normalize cravings for a minute and talk about the fact that women are going to experience cravings throughout the month that are very real and very different from our male counterparts, that like are so freaking normal, and all of us go through them, and it's actually your body giving you feedback that's very important. Like, we need to be listening to some of those, at least, because your body is giving you that feedback.
Yes, cravings, totally normal. And again, same exact thing. We're not winning or defeating them. We're just foregoing them. If somebody gets donuts at the office and it literally takes every shred of what, like your mouth is watering and you're like, no, no, thank you. Like that's coming back later in the form of, it might be that night, it might be later in the week. That's coming back in the form of like annihilating a tub of ice cream. So when you think about it, wouldn't it have been better to just have a little bit of the donut that you so desperately wanted at that time and then not annihilated the tub of ice cream? Because like you fulfilled the craving, it was satisfied, you moved on with your day, and you didn't have to think about chocolate for the next 72 hours before you like just ate an entire bag of Oreos because you'd been thinking about it for so long. I think that's been a real game changer for me when it comes to intuitive eating, is like the idea that, I'm being so good and then I'm being so bad. Those, I could just be like decent.
I could just be decent.
I could just like, they're getting donuts and I'm like, I really want one of those donuts. And so like, I'm just going to have a half. And like,
I mean, and the food choices that you make don't decide your morality. Like they're just not that important. Like, so it's just not important to your day.
I just felt like, I know it's coming back. So like, what form do I want it to come back in? Do I want it to come back in the way of, I wanted this all day and now I'm going to crush it? Or like, I want this, I have a little, I feel good, I feel satisfied, and I move on. I don't know, that's really changed everything for me as far as, this whole idea of, I remember they used to get pizza like at school sometimes. And I used to always bring my food because I had a 5 o'clock workout. And I was like, there's no way I can eat pizza. I'll vom at my workout. But you better believe whenever they got pizza in the afternoon and I had to sit there and smell it and eat the lunch that I brought, you better believe that after the workout, we were stopping for pizza. Because like, I wasn't going to just keep on going because I knew what that was going to mean. I wanted pizza. It didn't fit in with my day right exactly then.
Yeah.
But like I knew I had to fulfill that craving. So like, and then I just moved on with my damn life. Like it was weird. It was freeing. And the last thing that I wanted to discuss when it comes to late night snacking and looking at this from a different angle is your body is not a clock. It does not know that it's 7:01 and it's no longer allowed to be hungry. And I think that whole mentality of like, you're not hungry, you're bored, all that is to me is more a diet culture mentality of you're a grown-ass woman, you've lived in your body for over 20 years, if you're probably listening to this podcast, and you don't even know the difference between boredom and hunger. Like, you barely even know your ass from your elbow? Like, how do you even pay your bills? Like, you can't even tell the difference. Just go have a glass of water, dummy. You're not hungry. That is not true. You are hungry. Like, your body doesn't know that it surpassed the arbitrary time that it can no longer send hunger signals. It doesn't know this. And telling yourself that you're misinterpreting your own body is just so freaking toxic. And that is like so much of what has been pushed on women. You don't know any better. Just follow these arbitrary rules because you can't even really tell. I mean, come on. We don't really trust you. You shouldn't trust you.
Well, if women started trusting themselves and beginning with trusting themselves and in their body, the world would turn upside down and the diet culture would not thrive if you trusted yourself. So the ground rules for that is that you can't trust yourself. And the closer you get to being able to trusting yourself and being able to take yourself back inside of your body and, use workouts that are like feeling good, that make you feel good, that, movement not being a punishment, just being something you really enjoy, and food being something that you don't have to decide between enjoying or meeting your goals. Like, you don't have to pick one way or the other. You can enjoy your food and eat for pleasure and still continue to live a healthy lifestyle.
Oh my God.
Like, I really feel like that is for me, seems like it's a mind-blowing concept because there's so much out there that tells you have to choose between enjoying food and being healthy. It's like you have to pick one road or the other. And it's a lie. It's the Matrix.
Full disclosure, when I made this out, I was working on this outline for this podcast. It was yesterday at 1:30. And I'm writing down these things about you're not eating enough during the day, you're foregoing cravings, like all this stuff. I looked up from my desk, from my computer, realized all I had eaten was a coffee. And what did I go down and eat after, because it's 1:30 in the afternoon and I have not I have not drank any water and I have ate a single shred of food. What did I eat, Kelsey? Because what do I eat when I am the mostest wanting the bestest food and I'm super hungry? What do I eat?
Nachos?
I went down and I made myself a plate of nachos for lunch.
I knew it. There's one thing you can ask your sister.
I just want everybody to know that just because you live this mentality and can understand it, that does not mean that you're not going to eat nachos for lunch at 1:30 in the afternoon on a Thursday while working on a podcast to say, don't freaking do that shit.
I love that you brought that up because that's so, authentic, but it's just so important to realize that like when you hear information like this, that doesn't mean that every day for the rest of your life you need to live perfectly like this because it makes sense and you know it and you know better and blah 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 blah. Like that's no, like can we just throw perfection out the window?
Well, here's
it doesn't
where
exist.
this like really like changed my life is that before that would have been that whole day would have been surrounded with like
I'm a fake.
I'm off the wagon.
I'm off the wagon, yeah.
I'm a fake. Look at me doing a podcast. Like this, that would have been tremendously upsetting, like self-loathing circle. And now, instead of looking at it as me having such a problem with my own self-discipline, or I'm such a slug that I literally got so hungry that I made myself a plate of nachos. Like, what are you doing with your life? Just stop it. Instead of that, it was, oh, I know why I did this.
Yeah.
This makes sense.
Yep.
And it was like, yeah, obviously I did this. And then imagine that when you're polishing off the ice cream late at night. Imagine saying to yourself like, oh, I get it. I get why I did this. That makes sense. I'm actually in the right. My body did exactly what I told it to do because I went and I tried to forgo eating and filling it with calories and all my cravings. Now they're here. And like, I totally get why I did that. And then it's like, instead of I hate myself, I'm such an idiot, I need to change, I'm the worst. It just becomes like, oh, well, I know what I need to do tomorrow if I don't want to eat a plate of nachos for lunch.
Yeah. In thinking about how you can plan ahead to do that. To set
I did not do that today.
Success. This is one of those things where like, I wish I could shout it from the rooftops. I mean, I got a microphone, but
they gave me a microphone.
Don't know why. But I've talked about this in the past as it being such a weird thing that I always, we had a photo shoot this morning. It started very early and I got up at 5. So I made sure I have breakfast, and that's an everyday occurrence. If I'm flying out at 4 a.m, I'm getting up and I'm doing it, but it's taking it off the list of thinking about the next time that I have to eat, the next meal, right? So like you start with it, I start my day with it. I know it's not, okay, the first meal is like out of the way and I can like focus on the other things that I want to do, or else it takes up so much space. I want, if people are thinking like, well, I'm thinking about food all the time and like I'm thinking about it all the time. So like it's just like these intrusive thoughts. And then like by the end of the day, I just have to give into them because like it's been so intrusive throughout the day and I've been fighting it. I really would encourage you to try to start your day with your first meal so that you take it off the list. And then you can think about other things until it's time again because it's going to keep coming back, right? We have to like continue eating. But like until it's time again to think about it, but like at least you get to like, you plan, you start, you've started with something that you like, that is, that you feel good about, that is nutritious for you, because usually the morning is like the easiest time to do that because you haven't really built up any cravings throughout the day. You really just don't, especially
your willpower is at 100%.
Yeah. Like you get one in, you're done. You move
But that doesn't mean have a 200 calorie egg white that you don't like breakfast. That's not what that means.
Yeah.
That means eat something, make it be something that you like, and start off with food. Because if you're having thoughts of food all day, they're so intrusive. Every single thing is just like putting off hunger cue. That's so normal because you're hungry. Mm-hmm. You're just hungry. That's normal behavior. That is not, you're not a leper. Mm-hmm. And I love that advice. We have said so many times to try your best to start out with breakfast, even if it doesn't really truly fit your schedule right now. Mm-hmm. Try to work it in, because like
even if it's just a banana though, like it doesn't have to be
something,
you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be like I have it's like a planned thing, but like it doesn't have to fit whatever feels right and works right with you. Like you could make overnight oats, put some protein in there, bring it with you, a little mason jar, bring it with you. You could have a banana, like just something so that we're like starting off. you know?
If you really want to change the habit of late night snacking, don't brush your teeth, don't have a Tic Tac, don't
Yeah.
have a giant glass of water. Instead, look at the reasons why you're so hungry at night. And most likely they are you're not eating enough during the day, you're ignoring cravings during the day, and are not having foods that feel satisfying to you, or you're not allowing room for all foods. And
yeah, being super restrictive is definitely just delaying. You're delaying.
Yeah. And if you just get into that mentality a little bit more, like if I do this now, it's going to come back tenfold. Having a little bit of donut during the day, having a cookie for dessert after supper, like these things become so much more a part of normal life. And it comes with an added payoff of like, you didn't eat all of your allowance of cookie, the entire bag in one sitting, because you got to spread it out and just live a really satisfying and also healthy lifestyle. And it's just, it's a game changer. So there's nothing wrong with you.
There's nothing wrong with you. These things are very normal. That's why we're doing a podcast on it. We've had a lot of women talk about it, ask about it, shame themselves for it, live in that shame, maybe not even share, because like binging often has a lot of, feelings of shame and guilt, and then, sharing anything that has feelings of shame and guilt. But sometimes it's just great to hear, like, I'm not the only one that struggles with this. And there are some solutions that don't include me being a failure because of my willpower.
And on a Thursday, I had nachos for lunch at 1:30 in the afternoon. So like,
sometimes it be like that.
Sometimes it be like that. You got to keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. All right, guys, have an amazing week. We love you.